Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast where we talk about the challenges of staying healthy in this modern, fast paced world. I'm Tiffany Sims, your burnout recovery expert and holistic wellness coach. And today I am so excited to bring to you my friend Chantel Matthews. She is such a gift, such a light. And if you can see her on YouTube right now, she is wearing yellow because she truly does bring smiles and sun wherever she goes. Chantel,
Ah,
I'm so
thank you.
happy you're here with me.
Ah, thank you so much, Tiffany. And I have to just give that right back to you because I love everything that you're doing and everything that you stand for women, especially. So I think we get caught up and overstimulated and overwhelmed, and you just keep showing up and giving such good information. So thank you.
Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. So a little backstory. Chantel and I are both in the health and wellness field. We both met in a mastermind. We talk all the time about investing in yourself and surrounding yourself by people who have done what you're trying to do. And that's actually how Chantel and I connected. We both at the time were really passionate about helping women lose weight and figuring out how to start businesses. And so a little why don't you tell the people a little bit about you, like where do you live in the world, like who are you as a person outside of coach?
Yes. So I live in Southern California. I'm about an hour away from sunny San Diego. So I love me some sun and yellow and brightness and all that. Um, who am I? I'm definitely Coach Chantel for sure, and on all aspects of my life. And I'm a mom of three. I actually have a teenager now, which is like mind blowing. So
I
I have a
thought you had
13-year
four.
old.
That's my mistake.
All good. I got a
Maybe I
13
counted
year
the
old,
hubby.
10-year-old, and an 8-year old. And my husband is a police officer. So we just in this home, it's a lot going on, navigating schedules and all of that. So yeah, I'm just a woman, a human, keeping up with life.
Yeah, I feel that so deeply. And so I want to start off our chat, like what does healthy mean to you right now in this season of life?
I love this question for me personally because I don't get asked that a lot for myself. For me, the word that comes to mind is really balance because there's so much chaos, especially like in the motherhood land, I would say, of everything and everybody trying to that's what I see, a lot of chaos. And for me, it's like, what are my priorities? It's not just that number on the scale or like my waist. It's like physical, mental, emotional well being. Does it make sense? Is it aligned? Am I connected? Do I feel good? And I feel really great right now. So to me, health is just feeling great, having energy, and feeling really balanced and aligned.
Feeling great. If you see me on YouTube right now, I'm taking notes because, like, why not? Feeling great, aligned, and in balance.
Yes.
Love that. Is that different compared to previous versions of you?
Absolutely. I think there's like, we all hopefully evolve and grow. And I think in the beginning of like being a mom, I was very young as a mom, and I would hear like, you have to do all of these things, very restrictive, very this, very that to be healthy. And it was not feeling good. So I did it all. I went through that stage of trying all of the like intense things and not feeling really good. And I thought that that was healthy, skinny was healthy. And I just totally evolved my whole mindset and my feelings about that.
And for some people, being skinny is their healthy version, but
Yeah.
it's the only measurement. And I know that for me now, like I'm 39, and that my circle of friends are I feel like we're divided into two camps of thought, which is like maybe even three. And
Mhm.
it's like the one who's still chasing the number on the scale in the skinny and the pant size because like that will make her happy. Then
Mhm.
there's like the other side who's just like, I'm never gonna be skinny. That's a waste of my time. F it. And so like they're living like not the healthiest lifestyle because they've just like thrown in the towel and it will be what it will be. And then
Yeah.
there's like that pocket that's like in the middle, which is where I live, of the like I don't care what my number on the scale is. I don't care what my pant size is, but I actually do care about how I feel in my skin. And do I have
Yes.
energy for the day? Am I like doing things that are causing me unnecessary mental fog, brain fog? Because like, who has time for that? Am I doing things to help generate energy in my day, or am I doing things that are like draining me? And so I have
Yeah.
like nothing left to give. And like sometimes that matters on like how I eat food or what workouts I do. But like I find those three pockets,
Mhm.
and I don't know, do you find the same in your circles, or like what does your circle of influence and the people you're surrounded by, like how do they see healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you put that beautifully. And as you were talking, I was like, yes, I literally ask myself, does this fuel me or does this drain me? Like that's a constant thing, a constant conversation in my head. Does this give me fuel or does this drain me? I do think that those three camps say it perfectly. I think that sometimes we can be on the one end of the spectrum where skinny, 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 the number on the scale, and that means that they actually aren't eating enough sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's this very broad spectrum in my circle as well. And so I'm right there with you, right there in the center.
Yeah. And it's some, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's so hard to crack because it's like we've been on both. I don't know about you, but I've been on both ends of that spectrum that way I just described. And
Uh-huh.
it's just like I find myself a lot of times not judging, but catching myself like observing a little too hardly and then having like all these internal thoughts and like in my own head about like, oh, if you only knew, or like, oh, my heart hurts for you because that's your priorities right now. And so like
Mhm.
how do you struggle with that sometimes too? And I wouldn't say it's like judgy, but it's like the curiosity conversation that you have in your head when you see people making certain choices or having certain drivers. Like,
I think I'm really good about putting Coach Chantel to the side when I'm like, let's say out to dinner with a friend. They're not there for coaching. I'm not like I'm pretty good at taking those blinders off. But I love the word you said, curiosity, because sometimes do get that like, huh, she made that comment that, she shouldn't be eating this today because she's not eating anything. Like her calories are supposed to be very minimal. So curiosity is definitely in there for me. And I know that everybody will get to their point where they're like, this isn't working anymore. If there is something that's not working anymore. And if and when they get to that point and want to reach out to me or whatever it is, then I'm good for that. But yeah, if they're not asking for it, I do my best to like, okay, Coach Chantel's not here. I'm your friend right now.
yes, but and
Yeah.
at the same time, some I know for me, it's like I think as with when you care about someone and you see them struggling for something through something and you've overcome it, like so often it's so hard not to share in those moments, or like to ask them if they're really okay and just let it be because you care so deeply. And it's like navigating that sometimes I think I have a hard time with, of like when a friend then does come and say like, what do you think? Because it's like, okay, like we need to have this conversation of like, do you want me here as your friend that you want to just like bitch and shoot the shit with, or are
Mhm.
you really asking for my professional advice in this moment? Because they can be very very different.
Yes. And I think that's a really great point to get permission to ask. Like for my sisters, for example, on a personal level, they know now on the phone, I'll be like, are you just venting or like, do you want advice? Like they know that I'm going to ask that permission first. And then I know where to go with the conversation.
And
Yeah.
so if you're listening right now or watching us and you're like, what does this have to do with me? I am not like a coach like you guys. It's really applicable for everything. Like, how often do you wish that your husband or partner would, instead of fixing your problems, ask what you need in that moment? And so, like, be that
Yeah.
friend to your friends of like, you hear it and just asking, like, hey, are you venting? Or are you looking for like advice and guidance? And you get
Mhm.
to have such a beautiful conversation from whichever option they choose. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't want someone to fix it for us. We just want an opportunity to like word vomit it all out. And
Yeah.
so, like, learning how to ask that question, I think, makes a really great friend and partner.
Absolutely. And I think the intention behind all of it is curiosity and like genuine love, and people can feel that. Like, are you being nosy and judgy, or are you having like compassionate curiosity for what I'm talking about right now? And so just I know I love those words together, compassionate curiosity.
Because you see, I'm like,
So,
I like
yeah.
that compassion and curiosity.
Yes, yeah, and people can sense that and feel that, and I hope that I give that off to people when I have these like genuine conversation. Is like, I'm not here to be judgy and tell you eat this, eat that, and be super strict. Like, I honestly have compassion and empathy, and I'm curious about what's happening with you, and I want to talk about like where do we go from here, and that's where I get lit up. Is like the where do we go from here part.
And I think that we both feel that way and have that approach because that's how we approach ourselves on the day to day. Like
Yeah.
you and I are both so curious about like when something doesn't feel right in our bodies or those warning signs start going off or something's like really joyful, like exploring that so we can create
Yeah.
more of it or like not have that anymore if we didn't like it. And so
Yeah.
I think it comes up in our friendships too. You had mentioned earlier about like you had done it all
Mm.
after babies. Did you
Hmm.
struggle with your weight or health pre-babies?
Pre-babies, it wasn't as, I mean, I had my first baby at 20 years old. So there wasn't like a ton before that. I was pretty active growing up. Nothing insane there, but it was like this bounce back. You have to bounce back, like this expectation after having baby right away. And so I'm like asking all the moms, like, what are they doing? And for the most part, people are like, this no calorie, this no carbs, this, and like very restrictive. And I did all of that. And to be honest, like my body type is one that requires some carbs, like I felt sick without that right amount of food and appropriate amount for my body. And so for me, I was like, if I'm going to get healthier and like lose the baby weight or whatever my goal is, I actually want to feel good in the process too. I don't want to feel like crap and like no energy because I'm not eating enough. And that's where I was at first, was
Was
not
that one
eating.
of those like come to Jesus moments on like 11 o'clock on the night at night crying watching infomercials or like how did you like if you don't mind sharing, like how did we
Yeah.
really get there? Like the emotional part and the real life behind the scenes, not like the
Yeah.
politically correct part.
Yeah, I love this. For me, it was like one of those big moments. I was working out at the gym, and I think it was just really quick while my hubby was on night shift. It was kind of insane time for us. And I didn't eat a lot that day. And so I went and did this intense, like boot camp style workout that I found on Pinterest. And I passed out. Like I passed out at the gym.
Oh
Like,
my,
how embarrassing. I mean, it was
I'm
pretty quick,
sorry.
but it was terrifying. And I like had a moment where I was like, this isn't working for me. Like, this is not, I knew that it was because I didn't eat enough in the day. Like, there was something that clicked that day that I was like, this isn't working for me anymore. This isn't healthy. I mean, I need to be home for my babies. I need to have energy for them. This is ridiculous. So that was my boom moment for sure.
That's that is really scary. That's
Yeah.
terrifying, actually. And I think that's so relatable because I think so often, especially as women, if you go to the checkout line right now, like there's all these like low calorie everythings and like these really weird workout programs that were designed for like 30-day blasts, not forevers.
Yes.
But they don't share that in those articles. And so people think that that's how you live and sustain and keep losing. So, like, what did you do from there? Like,
Mhm.
how did that go
I
from that
got
moment?
really curious for one. I sort of, not just curious, I became obsessed with like, where's the key here? What am I missing? What makes my body feel good? What is my body type? How much food is appropriate for my weight right now? Like I really got curious and dove all in. And that's when I started kind of collecting different certifications. with health coaching, and I just dove all in.
What did you learn in that process?
For one, I learned that carbs aren't the devil.
Oh, they're not.
Like, wow, go figure, my body needs some carbs to
They actually
survive.
need that for energy. Shocking.
Yes, wow. And I also learned that everybody's different. Like, there's not just this cookie cutter thing, and all of our schedules are different. And for me, it was like, I'm not looking for intensity anymore. I'm looking for sustainability. And so I was like, what's going to be sustainable? What's going to be sustainable? So that's when I started to do, kind of had this like body mind connection moment of curiosity where I'm like, okay, what's healthy and sustainable for my mind and my body daily? So that's it. I started taking like those bite-size habits daily. And it just evolved and evolved and evolved.
I love that. What's sustainable for my mind and body?
Yeah. My mind and body, my schedule, you
And
know?
schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that comes up for a lot of us sometimes too. It's like I'm too busy. Like when my schedule comes down, when I get over this big project, when the kids are back in school, then I'll worry about figuring out my health. And it's like, no, we need to figure out how to uh bring them all together. I talk about like we we've been trained to put like our health and our relationships and the way we earn money on their own little islands, and you can only focus on one of them at a time or be successful in one at a time. But it's like, no, that's not actually healthy. Like the best way to do this is learning how to find harmony between all of them. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may be more of a rock star than other, but there's always this like sense of harmony of what you can like achieve and sustain in those different seasons as we flow, through life. So I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I love the way that you said that. Because yeah, really, I don't want to be a rock star and a 20 in this area of my life, but then I have no energy to give here, you know? And so finding that beautiful kind of, I like that we both do this because that's how I
I
see
love
it
them too.
too.
But that's how you
Like
become a whole
aligned.
person. Like I'm a whole person, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. That
I don't want to be a
alignment.
robot or fragmented. I want to be whole. I
Yeah.
want it
And
all to feel good.
to me, it is kind of stemmed off of the middle, the core of your health. Like, how am I feeling? Do I have enough energy to give to my family, to my career? And not that we have to, I mean, to the point of burnout, obviously, you know this, like, we don't want to get there. We want to make sure that we're taking care of our body so that we can show up appropriately and serve in all of those areas.
Yeah.
And that's without the pressure. I think when some people might hear that and be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot at one time, but it doesn't have to be. I think we overcomplicate things. And if
Yes.
we were to simplify these things, take that breath and like decide what gets to stay, what can go, and keep those core priorities there, you'll feel that alignment.
Yes. Oh my God. I love so much that you just shared that because that is, yes. My brain was like in that moment. It was just all that went through my head was like, yes.
Yes, I think you get
I
it.
felt it in my whole core and I was like, I feel at peace. We're good.
Yes.
So I, like you very much are in the health field and like you help women lose weight. Like that is the thing that you help serve people. How do
Mhm.
you, let's start with like how you bring healthy into the home with your kids. Like how, I think that's really a great topic for the audience and for our listeners is like, how do you approach the healthy conversation with your kids without accidentally creating like these rules and barriers and like future baggage for them to unsort? Like, how do you
Yeah,
do that?
that's a beautiful question because I think, for one, we think that the kids aren't listening. They don't hear you when you're at the dinner table saying, oh, I can't eat that. I'm so fat. Like stuff like that, those little comments are going to stick with them. So, for one, it's like watching my language and like just my relationship with myself. I want them to be able to see. So it's like they're going to see what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And what's funny is that I don't have to be like, kids, you have to do this, you have to stay active, you have to do that. They see it and they want to do it. And they're asking me questions and they like start to gravitate towards healthy living without me implementing like a crazy plan for them at
It's
their age.
natural in your home. Like it's just
Yeah, it's just
how it is.
natural. It totally is. And I
Very
just make sure that when I buy things, because I'm the one that's buying the things at the grocery store, that I'm, paying attention and adding in some extra fruit. Did you have your fruit today? Do you have some water today? And it's not this like crazy conversation. It's just part and natural and balanced. And hopefully what they see is that I just have a active, healthy approach on life. And we still go out for ice cream every now and then, we still get to enjoy.
I love that. What would you recommend to someone who's listening right now, just going like, I'm new to this healthy thing. The vocabulary they have right now is like maybe the vocabulary is limited and it's like because it's what's health because this is healthy for you, because that's unhealthy, because like do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
how do you help coach someone through that transition, maybe helping them develop different vocabulary and ways of redirecting choices without making food healthy versus unhealthy.
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful. From the beginning, there's definitely a language thing that I pay attention to when I'm coaching. So I do want to steer away from that. This is good, that's bad. And what I do from the beginning is, what are we going to add today to give your body fuel? So it's just a powerful question at the beginning of your day, and your brain will start to scan for the things that could give you more fuel today. It's like this natural thing that happens, and it'll start forming that habit day after day if you're asking yourself that every single day. And so for me, it's like, it's kind of like a hack, like saying it out loud, asking yourself, what am I going to add today to give my body fuel, as opposed to what can't I eat today? What's not healthy for me today? It's like, what am I going to add that's going to give me some extra fuel today? Oh, I can add those berries. Oh, I can add some protein. It's like more fun that way too.
I love that. I know for me, the phrase that I think I probably use the most when I'm, for lack of better word, like training someone new to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
And like they're picking foods that maybe I don't enjoy eating. And it's like not, I don't have the conversation of like, oh, that's so unhealthy. I don't eat like that. It's usually like me really just being explicitly saying like why. And it's like, oh, that every time we eat that, I don't feel so well. And so
Yeah.
like you're not judging the person. And in this situation, it works really well if you have like a spouse who
Mhm.
may not want to change their habits and get on your healthy bandwagon. But like expressing like, I've noticed every time we have, I'll just pick some Mexican for dinner. Not that
Mhm.
Mexican is anything wrong with it, but like every time we go out and have Mexican, like my stomach is torn up and I feel miserable for like 3 days. And then
Yeah.
offer a suggestion of something that you might actually want to eat. Like, oh, what do you think about, whatever. And
Yeah.
I have found that that has taken the bomb out of those conversations when you're trying to reorganize your relationship with food.
Yes. Beautifully said. Yeah. I think that's so important. And you brought up a good point, is like noticing what foods make you feel what way. That's a huge thing. That awareness in itself is like a big win. How does this food make me feel? Do I feel like crap after eating this? Am I satisfied right now? This, a lot of powerful questions.
And I find that like in my experience, like my partners have been so much more receptive to that conversation than me being like, I can't stand myself anymore. We're all going on a diet. Like, get it out of here. We're only eating
Yeah.
vegetables and chicken for the rest of our lives. Cause then they
Yeah.
feel attacked and judged. And it's like, wait a second, like, I'm good with me. Like, that's your deal. And so, like, just, I just don't like the way I feel after that. Like, I'm trying to
Yeah.
have more energy during the day and I find that I don't. And um like 6 or 7 years ago, I heard Shailene Johnson share this really awesome phrase. And it
Mhm.
was, the question was like, my husband and my kids really love like Doritos and the Oreos. And like when they're in the house, I don't have control and I eat all of them. So like, how do I not bringing it in the house without drawing attention to it and without making it a deal, like a big deal? And the phrase she said was so beautiful. And it was, she's like, you just say you like, the first time it's like, oh man, I totally forgot. Maybe I'll try to grab them next time I'm at the store. And then it was like, they didn't have any. I didn't see them on the end cap this time. And
Yeah.
so, and eventually over time, especially with kids, if it hasn't been around for so long, like they stop remembering that that was something they came home and grabbed out of the pantry every day. And you've replaced it with a different option. Cause it's like, they didn't have this, but I did have some string cheese and an apple in the fridge. Or do you want me to make you like a turkey sandwich real quick? And so like it's that replacement and just making it so not a big deal. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you make it a big deal, then it is a big deal. It's like a whole thing and meltdowns and all that. So I love that so much. That's a great way.
yeah.
It made
And
me think of,
never had kids, so but it has worked with partners. The people I have dated, it has worked.
yes. Well, it is interesting that we bring this up because it is real life, right? Like I've had family members as soon as I'm getting healthier and feeling better and I'm at a family party and they're like, "Oh, salad again." Like that little like, "Oh." And I just kind of laugh it off. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm making my body have more energy for you guys." Or like something like that, light and fun where it's just not a big deal. I'm like, "Why are you guys attacking me?" It doesn't have to be like that.
Or my favorites, like you eat the cupcake and then there's a comment, you don't eat a cupcake and then there's a comment, and it's just like you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
let it roll. And you have to let it roll and just be so confident in that you're making the right decision for you in that moment.
yeah,
Like, I don't know about you, but there's been times where I've said no. I'll use cupcake for the example. It's like,
yeah,
oh, no, thank you. I'm good. And the next day I'm offered a cupcake. It's like, you know what? Yeah. And it's like, oh, I thought we didn't eat cupcakes. So it was like, no, I
uh-huh,
just didn't want it yesterday. Like, I'm
yeah,
like, that's what I want now. Do you want a hamburger every meal every day? Probably
yeah.
not. I just, it's
That's
okay.
such a good point.
It's
Yeah,
okay
it's
if
like,
you want a treat one day and not want it another. Just like it's okay to
yes,
want broccoli one day and not want to eat it for a week. Like,
yeah. I think we get to a point where hopefully we all get to that point where you just kind of don't care what everybody else is saying. And you're like, I know I'm on my journey right now, and it's me and your mentor, your coach, or trainer, whatever it is. Like, you're on this path and you kind of like dodge all of those boom, boom, boom.
and it goes back to how we started, which was like with curiosity and compassion
Mhm.
and like, what do I need right now to be my best self and to
Amen
feel
to
my
that.
best
Yeah.
and to
To have
reach
more energy to give to this world.
to
We
do
need
things that
that.
actually matter.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure you've experienced this too. It's like none of us actually care about how much we weigh or our waist size. It's like it's the life we feel like we're missing out on, whether it's
Yeah.
because we don't feel sexy, so we're not getting the attention we want in our relationships, or if we're single from other people, or not being able to get down to the ground and like play with our kids, or
Mhm.
keep up with our friends when they go run a 5K. Like I feel like it's the life we're missing out on that we're striving for, and we've attached that to like smaller is more vibrant, and it's like no, healthy, like you feeling alive is vibrant.
Yes. And that's all I wish for all the women out there is like that healthy, vibrant life and their version of healthy. Like whatever that is for you, like bring it. This world needs that right now. We need you.
Love that. What's your life motto these days?
Ooh, my life motto. I think it's just a series of questions, to be honest. Like, does this fuel me or drain me? Does this bring me joy? Do I have energy today? Like it's just questions. That's my motto.
I love it.
Healthy and alive, baby. And on the days where because I'm a human woman, hello, I have hormones. On the days that I feel down and drained, just allowing, like, allow is a great word. Just allowing it all in and knowing, like, I'm going to be okay and I'm going to get up in the next couple days and be all right. But also honoring that I'm a woman with hormones that are like this sometimes.
Yes. That sometimes in that cycle, the reason you're hungry is because your hormones actually needed more stuff to prepare
Yeah.
your uterus for
Yep.
what it's doing. And that doesn't make you wrong or bad or something to be feel guilty about. That was
Yeah.
eye-opening to me, realizing that my hunger and the waves of hunger throughout my cycle had to do with my cycle because it was biologically required for like
Boom.
mind. Like, why don't we teach that in health class?
Thank you. Yes, to teach all of that. Yeah, I definitely learned, like, I thought something was wrong or broken with me if I wasn't high vibe all the time because I'm naturally higher energy. And so the days that I was, I'm like, what's wrong with
What's
me?
wrong with me?
The whole world's crashing in. It's like, no, it's part of me and it's okay. I don't have to be
Or
anything.
my favorite, Jeff would be like, "Is your period coming?" And I'm like, "These are real feelings." And then like a day later, you're like, "God damn it, they really were real feelings. That is actually how I felt. I just didn't have any patience to like mellow the blow."
Yes, exactly.
But it was actually how I felt. They were valid.
Yes. Let's just allow. Let's bring it in, allow, and learn how to, adapt. And I don't like to use the word control emotions, but to be able to work through them faster and faster and more healthier ways, huge.
Yes.
It all
Observe,
matters.
respect, and then take action.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been trying to teach I coach I don't know if I've told you this. I coach high school field hockey. And so like with 15-year-old girls, like that's something that we work on a lot.
Yeah.
Is like being able to like pause, process how it made you feel, and then let's have a healthy conversation so people actually hear our words instead of
Yes.
us complaining.
Yep. There should be a school for that.
Well, I think we have to, this doesn't sound real shitty of me, but I was like, I think we have to like train adults to do that because they don't, and
Oh,
they're the ones that are raising the children who don't necessarily know how to regulate and respect their emotions. Is that harsh?
yes.
Is that
Regulate.
bad to
That's the
say
good
out
word.
loud?
No. Yeah, not control, because I hear control emotions like, oh, I don't like that. Regulate. And that's
Regulate.
a better word. Yeah.
Regulate the nervous system. Yep.
Mhm.
So if someone right now is like either at the beginning of their health journey or they've like life happened and there's like trying to find their way back to their healthy self, what do you recommend?
Simple. Starting very simple and in a way that fits with their schedule. So to me, the main things is like something for your body, for your mind every day. That's very simple. So I'm going to move my body for, even if that's 15 minutes. And I like to say body movement versus workout, exercise. It's like, what's my body movement going to be today? It feels better to the system. So I would just say, have a plan and make it very simple to start with and just build from there.
I love it. Any final words before I ask you how people can find you?
No final words. I just have so much love and compassion and curiosity for this world
So,
and for all the
Chantel,
women.
I love that. What do you have going on? How can people connect with you? Like, what would be the next step if someone felt really connected to you and wanted to like come into your world?
Yeah, I think Instagram is where it's at for me. So at Miss Chantel Matthews on Instagram. And I'd also love to, we talked about like simple things for your body and your mind every day. And I actually do have a PDF printable that I can definitely give your listeners.
Okay. Is there
That
like a keyword they can message you on Instagram to snag that?
Yes, just message the word printable.
Printable.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And I will drop your handle in the show description as well, so it's an easy click. Thank you so
Yes.
much for joining us today. And with that, everyone, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hmm,
So,
thanks
so good.
so much.